When I was in school, I knew exactly what was going to happen day to day. I had my timetable. I knew what classes were coming up. I knew what teachers I was going to see. I knew that I had to be in school every day. My day was already planned out for me. My week was already planned out for me. And term after term would happen, and I knew what was going to happen. But then, one day, education was just over. And suddenly, I was just out in the world and I felt directionless. I just want to talk a little bit about this because it's something that led me to feeling very lost and lost for years and years. So, I mean, you go to school when you're very young and it's a very regimented life. You know that you need to go to school. You have your dedicated time off during the half term or the end of term, the summer holiday period. But you know, once that's over, you're going to be going back to school, you'll see your friends, you'll be surrounded by people, and you just have an idea of what is going to happen. And then once education is over, you've got to kind of just figure this out for yourself. And I think that the way when you spend all this time from a child to becoming an adult with a strict, rigorous schedule, it doesn't help with that feeling of being lost, because I'm so used to having my time almost dictated by another person. And when that's all gone, it's a real struggle. I had no real coping mechanism for trying to figure out my own path. And I think this could have set me up for a bit of failure, to be honest. I left school with no ambitions, no purpose, no drive to do anything. I was always that kind of student that just sort of floated by. And my dad used to say this all the time. I would just sort of coast. Things would just happen to me. It was like life was just happening to me. I personally never had the impetus to take control of my life until literally the past couple of years in my 30s, where I'm thinking, wow, I have wasted a lot of my time. And a lot of that comes down to that just feeling of being lost, not knowing where I'm going in life, not knowing my direction. And I think that some of you listening may feel the same way as me. School really gives you that schedule. And looking back, reflecting on that, that's something that I actually really valued. I valued knowing what I was going to do. I valued knowing what was going to happen the next day. I knew, like I said, I knew exactly who I was going to see, the teachers, the classes, had an idea of a semblance of the work we were going to do. And even though I kind of just coasted through it, I didn't really pay much attention. I somehow got through school, I went through college, and suddenly I had to get a job. So I was working in a care home on a brain injury ward. And honestly, it got to this day where I'd look after patients, and that would include bodily care, so like cleaning up their mess, feeding them, basically day-to-day stuff. And I did that for a little while. I worked in quite a few care homes. And I remember there was this one patient that came in, and he had HIV, or it might have progressed to AIDS, I don't know. Basically, he had a highly transmissive virus. And I was told, oh, you know, he's a biter. He wants to bite people. And I thought, well, that's how it's going to be transmitted. Do I really want to work with this guy? I'll be honest, I think my time here is up. And I decided to go to university and almost postpone my time in the workplace. Now, looking back, that's a whole nother topic. Was university worth it or not? I've got a whole lot to say about that, but disregarding that right now, I kind of just coasted. And I enjoyed the time that I had there. Honestly, I had a good time. I met people that I still talk to today. It's led to the work that I do today in its own roundabout way. But I had another time, a period of time where I was now having my time allocated for me. I had lessons to go to. Except this time there wasn't such a strict... if I skipped a lesson, there was no recourse for that. Except there actually was recourse for that. And that is just in my own accountability. And I see that now later in life, that the decisions I make, they always have consequences. I just may not have seen them there. The teachers weren't telling me off for not coming in. They just sort of expected me to take matters into my own hands. And perhaps I'd be in a better position now if I actually took accountability for this sort of thing earlier in life. So I think having that freedom is a useful, valuable lesson that seems to only have dawned on me after far too much time. And I think if you can learn that lesson earlier in life, the lesson of accountability, dealing with the consequences of your own decisions, then maybe I would have set myself up to be more financially free in my 30s. Maybe I would have had more direction. And I think that that's a lesson that needs to be taught at a young age. Because when you're in school, yes, there are consequences for your decisions, but not real consequences. Yes, you might get a detention. Maybe you act up and you get excluded, and then you go to another school. But a lot of students would have just seen that getting excluded as a good thing, because they don't have to go to school. So what real consequences could actually make them see the error of their ways? This is a difficult one. So going into adult life, the way that I've managed to give myself some semblance of purpose and direction is by setting my own schedule. I have to wake up and meet a to-do list. And it's not because anyone's holding me accountable, I'm holding myself accountable. And I find that I feel so much more happy and fulfilled when I'm doing my daily tasks, when I'm fulfilling the requirements that I have set out for myself. For instance, today, after having breakfast, I am to come down here, talk to you guys, and then record a video for another channel. And then the rest of my day starts. And I do that first thing in the morning. I mean, right now it's just turning 7 a.m. I've been up for 2 hours and I'm ready to get stuff done. Yesterday, I met all of my to-do lists, and you know what? I felt absolutely knackered and very accomplished. I thought it was a fantastic day, and that's just because I met all of my tasks that I set out for myself. So if you're someone that is struggling with that sense of feeling lost, perhaps you felt a bit overwhelmed by all the possibilities after finishing education. Perhaps you're still in education. Try setting yourself some tasks. And that can be hard without a clear goal, a clear idea of where you're even going. And that's something that I lacked for a very long time. And I think that's just something that we all have to work out for ourselves. But what you can do in the meantime is just set yourself an interim goal, a short-term goal. Maybe just something small and just start doing some to-dos towards it. And eventually you will find direction and purpose through action. That's what I found. It's that taking action that really helps you find your purpose. For instance, one of my goals, pretty much since YouTube existed, was I wanted to make content. I was making content before YouTube existed. I just liked filming stuff. And I decided, almost 2 years ago now, that I was going to make content and I'm going to do it properly. And when I say properly, I mean I'm just going to stick with it. So a lot of my to-dos orient around actually just making content, just focusing on actions that I can complete each day. For instance, sitting here and talking to you guys about this very topic. That is one of my actions, and I will feel successful for doing that. And a whole other sort of subject is how you focus your energies. I've been trying to focus my energies more on the action of creating rather than the outcome of creating. So what I mean is I actually have been making sure that I make a video, and that is deciding whether I have won or not whether the video gets views or not. That is irrelevant. In the long term, yes, it would be nice to have views, but what really matters to me is that I make content. That's all that matters. That means that I have won. I have taken action. I have put something out there. And the same goes for you. And it doesn't have to be about videos. It could be about anything. Perhaps you want to be a doctor. Perhaps you want to be a train driver. These are the sort of thing I work with students and I hear they want to be a marine biologist. They want to be a train driver. They want to do all of these cool things. And one thing that they struggle with is setting interim goals. And they might get mixed up. So, for instance, let's take train driver or marine biologist. Step one is probably you're going to have to get your English and maths so you can understand documents, you can do simple arithmetic, or you've just got that sort of base amount of logic that you're able to solve simple problems. And there are sort of requirements for a lot of other courses. And then you might be looking on to college. What sort of college course could help? If you're doing marine biology, perhaps it is an animal care course. And then that animal care course could then lead onto a sort of job. Maybe you work in a zoo, or you get some sort of position there, or maybe you work at a local cat sanctuary, or you volunteer for the RSPCA. So you help rescue animals, whatever that might be. There's some sort of link there, some sort of progression. And it's setting those little interim goals that help you towards the main goal. Maybe you come up with some different goals for yourself, but as long as it's all working towards that big umbrella goal of you're becoming a marine biologist, then that you are a success. You are working towards what you want to do. And it's totally okay to get halfway through and realize you don't want to do it anymore. That's okay. We change our minds. And what you can do is continue working towards that whilst you figure out what you're doing. Just in case that actually it was just an interim thing. You just sort of change your mind during that, but you might find that your passion is still there and you come back to it. Or maybe you do want to completely do a crash change, completely change everything. That's okay too. And you might go through a period of time where you do feel lost. You try and figure out what you want. And if you're in that sort of period right now, then just still focus on taking action. Try something new. Perhaps go to your local gym. I find personally a lot of value in going to a local gym. And I'm not talking about a chain gym or like those big corporate companies that create gyms. I'm talking about your local gym. Like that sort of dirty warehouse of all the greasy weights. Go there. Because there you meet all sorts of people. And personally, this might be different around in different parts of the world, but your local corner gym, that is where community happens. That's where people are more open to talking there. And you can get talking to different people. And you might actually find that there's someone who is a marine biologist in the gym. Or something of similar to that, a similar ilk to what you're interested in, what you were interested in. You might end up talking. It might reignite your passion to continue. And then you can just set yourself small tasks again, day by day. Perhaps you don't know at all what you want to do, like I did. And what would I tell myself? Going back when I was about 18, 19, no idea what I was doing. Hell, even 17 and 16. Hell, even before that, when I was 11, I had no idea what I wanted to do when I was in school. But the thing is, that was completely masked by the fact that school was giving me day-by-day lessons. It's really when you leave school that I found that this hit me. I don't know what to do. It's like the question that people ask me when they say, where do you see yourself in 10 years? I have never been able to answer that because I don't even know what I want tomorrow. How can I know what I want in 10 years? And I'll be honest, if you ask me that now, I still can't answer that question. I don't know what I want in 10 years. Will I even be the same person? Probably not. But I can focus on what I want in the next couple of weeks. And so far, it's tended to be the same thing. In fact, it has been for the past couple of years. So anyway, what would I tell myself if I was feeling lost? I would tell myself just do something. Stop drinking. Stop smoking. And just do something. It doesn't matter what it is. As long as it's not self-destructive. Work towards something. And when you start working towards something, you'll realise whether you want that thing or not. And then you can try something else. And as long as you keep doing that, you're on the path to success. And even if you don't get monetary success, you don't get some sort of career out of it, that doesn't matter. The success is in the fact that you tried. You tried to do something. You did something different. And if you keep doing that over a long period of time, you'll probably find something that you are interested in. And that's what I would tell myself. And that's what I would suggest to you as well. Just keep trying. Sometimes things just suck. And sometimes things are great. Just take a little macro look at where you are right now. Take a step back. Are you in a period of time where it's best to maybe just double down on some education? Become more skilled at something. Learn a new skill. Meet new people. Or are you in a different period of time where you are smashing your goals and working towards something? So anyway, I hope that my thoughts have helped you, and I'll see you in the next video.